The Sugar Show era begins. Sean O'Malley did exactly what he promised to do, and many people doubted him. And the fighter was a decently sized underdog coming into the Bantamweight Championship main event at UFC 292. O'Malley seemed to be very calm in the octagon, and he caught Sterling rushing early in the second, sneaking in a right hand that dropped the champion to the canvas, following up with hard punches that made the referee stop the fight at 51 seconds into the second round. Here's what fighters had to say about O'Malley's performance. O'Malley picked up an extra $50,000 check for performance of the night, and in his post-fight octagon interview, O'Malley called out Marlon Chito Vera. Here's what he had to say.
Just the beginning of the Sugar era. I'm running this shit till 2035, baby. Did Chito win?
Chito won tonight.
Was it boring? Probably. I'll whoop Chito's ass in December in Vegas at T-Mobile. Let's fucking go, baby!
In the co-main event, Chinese sensation Zhang Weili began her second reign as women's strawweight champion, defending her title against Brazilian Amanda Lemos. Even though Lemos showed heart and toughness inside the cage, she was outclassed by the champion, who set a new record for the biggest striking differential in women's UFC history, after outlanding Lemos 288-21 during the 5-round fight. In her post-fight octagon interview, the Chinese star practiced her English without the help of the translator.
My name is Zhang Weili. I'm from China. Do you remember me? Thank you everybody. I'm so happy. I'm training every day, so hard training, easy fight, you know.
Zhang also picked up an extra $50,000 check for her performance. The champion clears out another contender, and it seems now the next potential challengers for the champion are fellow Chinese fighter Yan Xiaonan and the American Tatiana Suarez. It will be interesting to see the UFC's decision-making on who is next for Zhang Weili after her dominating performance over Lemos. One thing is for sure, whatever the decision is, it's not going to be easy to dethrone the champion a second time. In what was called his toughest test yet against veteran Neil Magny at UFC 292, Garry put a pretty dominant performance, earning a truly lopsided unanimous decision. The judges gave the fight to Garry with scores of 30-26, 30-26, and 30-24, and that final scorecard means Garry won every round with a 10-8 over Magny. Future expressed interest in fighting Wonderboy next to show why he's the new wave of MMA strikers. Here's what he had to say.
This breaks me into the UFC top 10. I'm 25 years of age, and I'm telling you now, I need to prove myself as the best striker that this division had ever seen. And Joe, I think you can guess where I'm going here. To be the best striker in the world, you need to beat the best strikers. And everybody has Stephen Wonderboy Thompson on that list. So give me Stephen Wonderboy Thompson whenever, wherever, for 5 rounds, and I will prove to you I am the new generation of striker in the world.
Kicking off the main card at UFC 292, Marlon Chito Vera got back in the win column with a victory over Pedro Munhoz by unanimous decision. Despite Munhoz finding some success in his strikes, Vera's lead jab kept finding a home on Munhoz's face, and it seemed to be the difference in the judges' eyes. The scorecards came back 30-27, 30-27, and 29-28 for Vera, as the fighter continues his climb up the bantamweight rankings, and possibly setting a future rematch with newly crowned champion Sean O'Malley. Despite Weidman's best effort to come back after a devastating broken leg that nearly ended his career, Tavares spoiled his comeback with vicious leg kick attack to win unanimous decision. All 3 judges scored 30-27 to Tavares, which set the fighter back on track following 2 losses in a row. In the post-fight press conference, Dana White asked Weidman to retire. Here's what he had to say.
What do you think Chris Weidman should do after
retire? I love Chris Weidman. I love him. I love his family, and I think he should retire. We talked to Doc D. Doc D thinks he blew his MCL, ACL. He blew one of the CLs. And, you know, guy's just coming back from a gruesome injury. And you know, listen, man, Father Time is not our friend at all, but definitely if you're a professional athlete, it's...
So if he comes up to you and says, I want one more fight, is that something you say, like, hey, maybe let's talk about this?
First of all, depending on the damage to the knee, you're talking another year. So I would say, Chris, I love you. Please retire.
Brad Katona beat Cody Gibson by unanimous decision in the bantamweight finale of The Ultimate Fighter 31 at UFC 292. He became the first ever two-time TUF champion. Katona took home the TUF trophy after a 3-round war with Gibson, earning Fight of the Night. Kurt Holobaugh submitted Austin Hubbard in the second round to win TUF 31 lightweight tournament. Afterwards, Holobaugh called for a fight with English star Paddy Pimblett.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Ultimate Fighter lightweight winner, Kurt Holobaugh!
And hey, I know a lot of people call you out, but Paddy to Paddy, if you want to fight a real Ultimate Fighter winner, let's go, baby. I'm here waiting. I ain't going nowhere.
Kurt Holobaugh, ladies and gentlemen.
PFL heavyweights and women's featherweights finals, in hopes of winning $1 million purse. In the main event, number 2 seeded heavyweight Renan Ferreira defeated Maurice Green via knockout, punches, at 4:46 of round 1. In the co-main event, Larissa Pacheco defeated Alina Kolesnik via knockout, punch, at 0:14 of round 1.
Right hand there for Pacheco, and another lands. And another big right hand. Pacheco! Less than a...
In the other heavyweight semifinal, Denis Goltsov defeated Jordan Heiderman via submission, arm triangle, at 4:16 of round 1.
Triangle attempt.
This is going to be a tough minute to survive. This arm triangle looks like it's very tight. Oh, it might be
like a tap there, right? Like a tap.
It looked like he was trying to tap, but his arm was isolated. There he's the tap! Denis Goltsov to the championship! First round submission.
And in the other women's featherweight bout, Marina Mokhnakina defeated Amber Leibrock via submission, armbar, at 1:45 of round 1.
See if she can push her knee and get her head on the inside of those legs.
And a tap!
Now these fighters are in the finals of their respective divisions. And get the chance to compete for PFL gold and $1 million.